The New York Appeals Court is now throwing out the nearly $500 million judgment against President Trump in the civil fraud case brought by the state's attorney general. I want to go live now to our correspondent, Kara Scannell in New York. So, Kara, update our viewers. What are you learning about this breaking news?
Wolf, this is a huge win for President Donald Trump. A New York Appeals Court 5-member panels have agreed to throw out the nearly $500 million judgment against the president. This was from the case brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Now, this is a 323-page opinion. The judges remarkably could not reach unanimity on any one opinion, and they note that there were profound disagreements in how they were analyzing this, but enough of them, they had agreed to this so that the case could move forward to the next stage where they expect it will be appealed further. But this decision does say that the judgment, the nearly $500 million, is thrown out. You'll remember that Trump had posted a $175 million bond that will be given back to him at some point. But that was a real significant judgment against the president. At the time, he was facing the criminal charges. It was unclear if he would be able to raise the money, but now that is no longer a concern. That judgment is against him, has been thrown out.
Before I say anything, that's all I can say is I mean, even CNN, they couldn't ignore it, man. This is how bad this case really was. I mean, we knew that from the start, though. They tried to silence him, bury him in bogus fines, and destroy his businesses. And in the end, the court torched her entire argument. Well, let's just say the Democrats, right? You know, for them, it wasn't justice. It was revenge. And it just collapsed in broad daylight. But if you think that's wild, wait until you hear how deep this ruling actually cuts. Let's go more in depth.
Well, Fox News alert, a New York appeals court just this morning has thrown out President Donald Trump's massive civil fraud penalty. The decision from a 5-panel group in New York's appellate division changed the original decision that stood to cost Trump over $500 million. One appeals judge calling the lower court's penalty an excessive fine that violates the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution. You might remember that New York Attorney General Letitia James' office says despite this decision, they will not be dropping the case. Let's get some thoughts from Andy McCarthy. He's a former U.S. attorney. He is a Fox News contributor. He is on the phone with us. And last summer, you were helping us every single day as President Trump sat in that courtroom. Letitia James, the AG, she happened to be there as well. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I remember, Andy, you said that you thought this could be the outcome once the appellate court got a hold of it. What are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I think, Dana, that Trump may be ultimately completely exonerated on this. For now, the penalty goes. There was division in the appeals court about the merits of the underlying suit, but as you point out, what they found basically under an 8th Amendment theory, that's the amendment that prohibits cruel and unusual punishments, there was such a mismatch between whatever wrong was actually established in the trial and the outrageous penalty that was imposed for it, which was, I think, $355 million, which with interest and other costs is already up to about $530 million now because it continued to accrue for a while. That was such a ridiculous mismatch between what the penalty was and whatever the wrong was that was established, that had to go. The court is leaving in place some other what they call injunctive rulings that were made by the court. So some things have to be sorted out, like how much monitoring Trump's organization is going to be under. But he's out from under the most important part of the case, obviously. And I think there could still be an appeal to the highest appeals court in New York, the Court of Appeals, where they will deal with the question that seems to have vexed the appellate division, which is the whole merits of the case and whether Letitia James, the Attorney General in New York State, should have been able to use a consumer protection statute that had never been used in this way to try to establish a fraud case based on sophisticated financial actors, where this is not a situation that a consumer protection statute was ever meant to apply to.
Wow.
And Andy, we're just getting some new reaction in from the White House right now. If we can pull this up, this is from Trump spokesman Stephen Chung saying, quote, Letitia James' political crusade against President Trump, which is barred by the statute of limitations, and where she ludicrously valued Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach, Florida, as worth a paltry $18 million, as well as committed a ton of other fatal errors, is just another failed skirmish in the discredited lawfare campaign against President Trump, his family, and his business that other Democrat prosecutors are dropping left and right. Andy, real quick, final word to you. Letitia James was sitting in the front of that courtroom every day smirking, and looks like she lost today.
She lost, but I think, Bill, Trump is president because of lawfare. And I think this was just it was a big part of it, but it was just one part of an overarching campaign in which Trump actually won sympathy from even people who weren't particularly sympathetic to him to begin with, but who saw if this could be done to him, it could be done to anyone.
Pretty incredible, and much more to come as we parse through this news today. Andy McCarthy, thanks for joining us. That was a quick.
Now, this is key. The court used the 8th Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment. That's how far Letitia James and Judge Agneron went, man. This wasn't a fine. It was a financial execution, if you will, right? They inflated the numbers, overreached on the law, and hoped nobody would fight back. But obviously Trump, he didn't fold. He beat them with the Constitution. Now, here's what gets even more insane. Letitia wasn't just doing her job. She ran on this. Y'all remember?
Because we know here in New York, a man who succeeds by tearing others down, who gets rich off the backs of others, whose hateful rhetoric is poisoning our democracy, stands as an affront to all that I believe in and all that this country and state represents. Union.
Now, I found this clip because, we've recycled so many of her clips of saying nobody's above the law, Trump, going after Trump in so many different ways. But here she definitely said the quiet part out loud. This wasn't about crime. This wasn't about protecting New Yorkers. It was personal. She made Trump the villain of her campaign, just like much of these other Democrats do, instead of aiming it at people like the cartel or the, crime in the streets. But instead, they were aiming at Trump. This was a political crusade disguised as a courtroom case. And that's why it just blew up in her face. Now, let me show you someone who called this exactly what it was, but years ago.
Let me tell you a story, okay? It was August of 2023, and or maybe it was July, and I saw Trump at a Turning Point event. This is before we kind of I don't know. We'd made up years ago, but this one we had the first real glad hand and chance to see each other, and it was a very nice exchange. And I spoke with his team behind the scenes, and we talked about the lawfare that he was facing. And the team made clear to me of all the criminal trials that he was facing, the thing that really had Trump stressed because it was so unfair and threatened his business to its core was this ridiculous possible indictment by Letitia James, not indictment, but civil suit that threatened to bankrupt him. And indeed, she got a hard partisan judge. She's a hard partisan, the New York State Attorney General, who ran for office promising to, quote, get Trump.
Literally.
And then she got a hard partisan judge, this lunatic Judge Engoron. And it was a judge trial. He had no right to a jury on it. And it didn't go his way. So this one was very important to Donald Trump. And not surprisingly, this hard partisan judge threw the book at him and entered a nearly $500 million judgment against him. It is now over $500 million with the interest that's accrued. And today it was thrown out. It's amazing. He's had to live under this for years now, not just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump Jr. Eric Trump, both of whom have been pulled into this and harassed by this rabid partisan posing as an objective attorney general. It's not so fun now, is it, Tish? Now that you're on the receiving end of lawfare.
Boom.
Unlike Trump, however, you actually appear to have broken the law. Yeah, you deny it. Well, you'll get your day in court, too. We'll see how that plays out.
I got to say it one more time. Boom. I mean, Megan, she absolutely just nailed it here. Trump was forced to fight this fight for years while Letitia smirked and smiled and set her little way up in court like she already won. Well, guess what? Oh, what? The tables have turned. And I'm not going to sing again, but and she might not, be facing legal troubles of she might now be facing more legal troubles of her own, rather. The lawfare machine is eating itself at this point, y'all. It's a beautiful thing to watch, if you ask me, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. It don't take, it don't take a lot to make me happy. That right there did. But don't take it from me, okay? Listen to how the streets are reacting to this, all right?
Known as Letitia Peekaboo James loses to Donald Trump again.
Mm-hmm.
What a shocker.
Wow.
Hold this L, New York. Hold this L, Democrats. You guys tried to bankrupt Donald Trump only for you guys for your credibility to be shot once again. You guys are just so greedy. Instead of just playing the game, I understand politics, right? Instead of playing the game the way that it should at the ballot box or, of course, in your liberal media, you guys want to bring the courts into it, bringing all the credibility to the legal system down with you guys. You Democrat AGs, you Democrat judges need to face steep penalties. And if I'm Donald Trump, I'm putting cases on all y'all. You and that judge, that Angaranus, whatever his name is.
I call him ignorant.
He gotta face some penalties too. Because you guys try to bankrupt Donald Trump, try to lock him up only for your faces to have egg on it. I don't know what's it going to take for you guys to actually face consequences, but whatever it takes, I know y'all going to call him an authoritarian, but you guys actually commit crimes. Like legally, the crimes that you guys committed, it's against actual statute. He doesn't have to twist himself into a pretzel in order to convict you guys. You guys already committed crimes that's already in the books.
Come on now.
So I'm just waiting for Bondi to do her job.
Come on.
Like, do your job, Bondi. Like, come on. Like when, what's her name? Laura Loomer called her scam Blondie. It's kind of giving that. It's kind of giving that. Come on now. All these crimes we've witnessed with our two eyes and no perp walks yet. I don't know, man.
Oh, no, man. But I'll say straight up. You know what I mean? Regular folks see what's going on. This isn't left versus right anymore. At this point, it's about power versus truth. And when a system tries to punish a man over politics, people notice. This ruling didn't just clear Trump. It exposed the game. And here's where we, take action. If you saw this from the start, you're not alone. Okay? We all have to struggle through all these Democrat clips. But I also want you to drop lawfare lost in the comments. In this case, proved your point. If you tired of the clown show and ready for the truth without filters, make sure you hit that subscribe button too, man. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life too. Peace.